We'll be looking ahead of this year. Yes, with a view to just seeing what are the outlook, what likely from the policies we've seen, how may we navigate, how do they intend to go about it. Well, we'll look at some of the statements that they've already released out there and see if it could act as a compass of sort. Well, Dr. Nnaji joins us now. He's a public affairs analyst and a lawyer. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
And Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I mean, in the opening sequence, we were just joking about the fact that can our leaders ever just approach, I should say, development, as one of the governors would say, with anger and with a lot of intent to see how they could come and then develop the infrastructure as fast as possible. But in 2013, how do you see some things playing out?
Well, I believe 2013, and this is making this very cautiously, because there will not be any attempt to dabble into increase in prices of petroleum products. Perhaps there might be some measure of quiescence in the new year. The agitations that greeted 2012, which arose as a result of unnecessary meddlesomeness with the single commodity that is the driver of all economic activities, whether you own a car or not. It run in the system like blood. So if the presidency is keeping its word, as is stated even late 2012, although we saw filling stations trying to hoard, because they never believed that government will be saying the truth at any time. So if that is kept, then at least there will be some measure of peace within the context of the civil population.
Okay.
The duty of fighting terrorism, kidnapping, and other insurgencies is that of the government. So from that perspective, if the environment is kept reasonably peaceful, Nigerians will do what they know best, fending for themselves.
But if you look at, I mean, just today we've seen some headlines talking about the next elections. Do you see us being able to see if we could draw the line and limit all of those talk about their plans for 2015 and see how much they can focus on achieving some of the plans and programs that they say they were going to achieve in this term?
I don't see so much change because the Nigerian politician, some say they are professional politicians. And that is very dangerous because politics is about rendering service. That means you come to table with something. You don't take from the table to a home. You bring something to the table. That's what is done in other climes. But what we find is that this is a job for the boys. So the clamor taking positions for 2015 has already started. And it will continue until 2015. And this has a destructive tendency so that the government is not focused. And add to it that some people in governance did not have programs. Okay? Sometimes it even rubs off positively for them because they have some excuses to fall back on why they failed to achieve certain objectives. But I have always advocated strategic thinking in governance. You have so many people who are simply doers in government. And we don't need doers because any foolish man can do things under direction. But when you have strategic thinkers, take for example road infrastructure, which people flaunt. We've been able to tar 300 kilometers of roads throughout the federation. You don't tell people when you feed their children because this is just those basic things. They are very mundane, basic things that you are expected to do without talking. Otherwise, you get out. So if you have strategic thinkers, even these 300-kilometer roads, where do they lead to? Road to where? Is it just surfacing something to turn black? What is the linkage of that road to the economic development of the country?
I'm happy you just started off on the road issue. Perhaps at least we just came back from the holiday, loads and loads of Nigerians actually went to their villages, to their homes, and if anything is to go by what the Minister for Works has been saying concerning road rehabilitation, they say they've been working. Perhaps for 2013, how much more would you like to see in terms of road rehabilitation, or having roads that will link to some places instead of having roads linking to nowhere, as you put it?
First and foremost, there seem to have been some touching up of some roads, but that is not impressive. I'm not thrilled if you go and pour sand or tar on certain portion and you keep patching. You are patching something somebody had done before, and at a very highly escalated figure. Okay? The same amount that would have been used to even build new roads, or in fact completely resurface the existing ones, you spend it on a portion. Some people, like for example, the Third Mainland Bridge, a lot of people are wondering, where was the billion spent on? Because you still see almost the same, okay, if you like, maybe about 3 or 4 areas that seem to have. And of course, the prolonged stay on the bridge perhaps was a psychological way of justifying the complex nature of the job. But we are interested more in the output. What is the end result? It's the same thing all over the Federation. If you go from, I had to travel by road, okay? And I cannot tell you what happened to all the suspensions and what do they call, the shock absorbers and so on. You have potholes, you have thick tar, and a deep gorge.
How long was this this trip? How long was this?
I traveled from Lagos to Enugu.
No, how long ago?
Just I came back on 31st.
In other words, well, the roads are still unfixed.
You see, the strategy is this lane or this other side of the road could look nice. You move to another portion. That's how you move. So you will not actually put up to 120 or 100 kilometers, because you are not sure when you'll be jumping into the next gorge called the pothole. Then what we have noticed is that as they are repairing this, the other one is fast deteriorating. By the time they are about to get through with about 100 kilometer stretch on this, there will be absolute outcry that the other place should be attended to. Then the contract is awarded, demand. So year round, there's job. They never get finished. And that is very bad of this country. You travel to some other developed countries, the issue of road never comes up because it's taken for granted. And then these roads lead to somewhere. For example, if you're talking about East-West Road or talking about Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, we know how strategic this route is. And you don't make noise. How do you escalate economic activities if you do not have these linkages? You get to Shagamu and it veers off. The other one goes towards Ibadan, up to Abuja. The other one gets to, and that is the only link to the east of the Niger. And there are a number of states that use that road. Okay? Now that is even a central road. What about other tributary roads that will enhance economic activities? That's why I say, road to where? Even when you say you are patching these roads, you patch until you get to a point, there's nothing to patch on again. And there's no money to start a new one because the money has been frittered away on the patching job. So the whole thing boils down to corruption. Monumental corruption. And I have a very, I have an attitude to the idea of fighting corruption. You can't fight corruption.